Most people never get what they want because they believe they have to have something else first. They believe they have to have something able to enable them to get what they want. There's a quote from Robert Brault. Robert Brault said, "We are kept from our goal, not by obstacles, but by a clear path to lesser goals." So what most people think is that in order to actually get what they want, they have to have something first. And once they have whatever that is, it could be credentials, it could be money, it could be connections. Once they have that, then they can actually do what they really want to do and eventually have what they want to have. And that leads people to spending years, decades often, pursuing lesser goals. They're pursuing lesser things. And according to the science on prospection, which is a concept in psychology, whatever view of your future you have, whatever your primary goal is, that's the thing driving you. And most people, they're actually pursuing secondary goals or lesser goals because they think they have to have that thing first. I know a lot of people who are spending lots of time, years or decades, getting all sorts of credentials or getting all sorts of worldly accomplishments because they think that'll finally enable them to be the person they want to be. You can get whatever you want almost immediately if you actually first identify what it is you want to have, what is the context, what is the person, what is the situation, what is the freedoms you want, what is the situation of your future self. You have to define what you want first. That's your clear intention. And then you have to be that person now. Start being that person now and realize you already have it. That's actually one of the key aspects of being, is your sense of being is your level of thought process as well as your emotional connection. And most people, they can identify in their mind what they want, but emotionally they resist it. And as a writer or someone who does creative work, you can feel that resistance, and that resistance actually stops you from being your future self now. And so obviously you've got to realize you can already have it. And being your future self now means you already believe you have it. There's a great quote from Neville Goddard. He said, "Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled." So you have to be your future self now. You've got to be, then do, then have, because your future self would do something different than you. So if you assume that what you want or to have is already yours, then you can be from the state of your future self. You can be as though it's already yours and then do from the place of that being. You do what your future self would do, not what your current self would do. You do what you would do if you already knew you could have it. And that state of knowing allows you to eventually get whatever it is you want, and you can create results very quickly, very non-linearly. You don't have to go through this linear path of thinking I've got to do X, Y, and Z in order to finally be who I want to be. No, you say, what do I want to have? And then how can I be that person now? And once you start being that person now, recognizing it's already yours, then you'll start doing things differently because your behavior comes from your identity. Your behavior comes from who you're being. And so who you are and who you're being is your identity. It's how you see yourself. It's what you're most committed to in your mind. And whatever you're most committed to in your mind is what you're creating. Most people commit in their minds to very lesser goals. Most people settle and commit to a much lesser future than they would really want for themselves. But there's a great quote from James Allen. He wrote the book As a Man Thinketh. And he said, "Men do not attract what they want, they attract what they are." And so you get who you're being. And so that's why you actually have to say very clearly, what do I want? And then who's the person I need to be in order to get that? And then you need to start being that person now, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled and doing what your future self would do. If you start doing what your future self would do, thinking as your future self would think, and feeling, not any sense of lack. There's a great quote actually from Greg McKeown. He said, if you focus on what you lack, you actually lose what you have. But if you focus on what you have, then you gain what you lack, and you realize you already have what you want. That's the whole point of being your future self now, is you realize whatever it is you want to have, you already have it. You just accept it's already mine. It's already yours, and then you can move forward with that state of confidence, that state of being. You can be your future self, do what they would do, and then you can have what you want to have. And so you can bypass the years or the decades of the lesser goals that most people spend their whole lives pursuing. It's like a shadow career. You can get there immediately, but you have to actually let go of a lot of your lesser goals, a lot of the things you feel like you need to have first, which are actually just other people's agendas or they're other people's false limitations. You don't need all of those secondary goals or those rungs on the ladder to eventually be who you want to be. There are nonlinear ways of getting there. There are faster ways of getting there if you're willing to let go of all of the idea that you need all of those things first. My name is Dr. Benjamin Hardy.